fight it, I hate it. Why can't we just shut up and say, I love you, I love you, I love you, baby. I love you, I love you, I love you, baby. Love that songwriting. Hey,
Well,
correct.
now you got me.
Yes.
You got me thinking. I got to do an acoustic cover to that one now.
It's a real tune. It could be a real hit, I tell you. Really.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, totally, totally. So welcome to the Global Music Match Party, everybody. I feel very blessed to get to spend these next 15 minutes with my new friend Karate Cactus. Um, Straight out of Canada, and um, yeah, Karate Cactus's music is really danceable, super melodic, could totally be global smash-tastic music, and I believe it will be. And
Thank you. Thank you.
and it looks like the live shows and your energy are just like full of joy and full of like musicality and spirit. So just looking through your stuff, I'm like, you released your first single last year, right?
Yes.
And you've had like over 1 million streams, and you've got like thousands of online followers. So how did you get this project cranking so quickly?
Well, I was DJing for about have been for about 8 years now so far, and I've just been working on music in the background. Like, I wasn't confident with my sound, wasn't sure what direction I wanted to go, and I just really took my time with it. And I ended up moving from Newfoundland, which is on the farthest east coast of Canada, to another east coast province called Nova Scotia, where I did meet up with a band and became friends with them, and ended up learning a lot from them. Like, their main producer kind of like took me under his wing to like take me to the next level, to be confident. And we've actually worked together on a lot of my singles, and it was more like his idea. He was just like, you should just start putting stuff out. Like, you're already like a really great DJ. Like, this is the next step for you. So yeah, that's how it all came about.
Wow. And what's his name?
Corey LaRue.
Great. So it sounds like there was a good connection there, and like mutual respect, and it sort of put you on this whole new thing of putting your own songs out.
Yeah.
That's so
Because
cool.
like I was thinking about like what would I like to play in the club, and like instead of waiting for someone else to put it out or wait for someone else to make it, I'll just make it myself. The idea and everything's already in here, so I just said screw it. I'm gonna do it.
That's it. Nice one. And you're in Halifax, right? So you're right on the Atlantic. Is
Yeah,
it? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, Atlantic Coast.
Yeah. So with me here in Vermont in the northeast US, well, you're just a few hundred miles away, right?
Yeah, not that far really.
Yeah. Yeah. So um, for folk at home who haven't been lucky enough to hear your stuff yet, if you were to describe uh, your project in like a sentence, what would you say?
I mean, my project would be uh, super energetic, high energy electro pop with some I'm gonna say world music flair. Like, I grew up in so many different countries, and I was influenced by so many different cultures that when I hear like a certain like a chord progression, I'm like, all of these rhythms and all of these instruments would sound good with it, but none of these things are all from the same place. It's just I do it all by ear and not by like I want to make something that sounds like it's South American with a dembo rhythm, or I want to sound like make something that sounds like UK house. Like I just want it whatever sounds good from all these different elements. I just like mash it all together to some chimera of a song.
And what was the musical background of your home growing up?
In my home, it was different. My mom, she really liked R&B and hip hop and like the poppy kind of stuff. And my dad, he's more of a traditional like East Coaster, so like it was everywhere from like Great Big Sea to like AC/DC, ZZ Top, or, like Metallica, like alternative rock. So like I had both of these. They're kind of clashing, but kind of not, because I would enjoy both of them equally.
Nice, nice. And what is the connection point between those two?
Oh, my dad ended up getting his first job out of university in Africa in a country called Zambia. It
Yeah.
was a small coal mining town, and my mom was working at the only bar in the town, and my dad fell in love with her, and that was the
Wow, wow,
end.
wow. So you're bringing all of these different influences, both from like your parents' different musical tastes, and then your travels, and also being a DJ. So you know what gets people going live.
Yeah.
And um, so, what is it you look for when you go in to write a song? What are you hoping for?
I'm hoping for something pretty relatable, so people can like I'm really about the quotables and putting lines in there that people can use as Instagram captions and stuff, because that just ends up like just people taking a single line from your song and they're using it, and when they're posting really does help grow the song in itself. To be like, oh, where'd you get that caption? Oh, from this song. But also on top of that, really like translating my energy on stage into the music. So like if I'm in the studio and I'm jumping around, I know I'm like I'm on the right track. But if I'm
Yeah,
sitting there and I'm like something's missing, I know that everyone else that listens to it will be sitting there being like something's missing. So that's usually the direction I take when I'm writing.
it is bewildering, right? It's just a bewildering thing to be a modern musician. I came up in the noughties, and as an independent musician, then really you had live. That was really the place.
Yeah.
I, and I was seeing that kind of across the scene, right? Like even someone like Immortal Technique in hip hop in that time, um, he was just like cranking it live, and then his MySpace. Those are the two
Yeah.
things. Whereas now it's just like there's so many different um, platforms and angles, and video is a huge thing now. Like it really wasn't such a big thing 20 years ago. So yeah, so you're just having to be really innovative.
Yeah.
But it seems like you're getting some traction, so maybe you just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I try to like you can't really predict the trends, but you can see when something starts to become popular. Like because everyone is trying to get the next viral hit. If someone puts something out and is like the first person of a trend, everyone hops onto it. And like my probably best example I can give is when Justin Bieber came out with "Sorry." That was around the time Major Lazer came out with "Lean On." Very similar, like they took from the Brazilian rhythms and they used this pitched up vocal chop that wasn't really used in pop music. And then if you look at almost every song in the next 2 years that was around 100 BPM, sounded very similar, if not identical to "Sorry." That's because that blew up and then everyone hopped on that trend. And then it's just been that's what the music industry's turned into. Someone does something innovative, of course, but everyone wants to be the second, like follows on that coattail, I guess.
Yeah,
So I've been trying to stay ahead of being on the coattail. And I hear something, I'm like, this sound is different, the sound is new. I like it works in the club and on my radio show already without people knowing what it is. So I feel like this is going to gain traction and people are going to want to hear more of it.
Yeah, yeah. You you're. It sounds like you're really intentional about what is going to really land with people, what is going to, yeah, what is going to inspire them and make them go crazy or get into it, right? Share it, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you write, what's the process? Like, how do you write these songs? How do you put them together?
Um, so basically, me and Corey will sit down in the studio, and we will. Usually, what happens is that we come up with an instrumental with a vibe or a mood in mind. Um, there's a couple of other ways that we do write is where we do have the songwriter in the room with us while we do it, and both come up with pretty similar results. But like my latest one called "Part Time Lover," um, it was like I was in this headspace as well as the writer, where like they're like kind of in a relationship, but they don't feel like they're full time. So this is where this term part-time lover came from, where we just started like bouncing ideas off each other, being like, yeah, and like it's I guess it's wherever like my head and my heart is at the time. And like
Yeah,
if you look at my other releases, like Shut Up and Say It, it's just like, why don't you just shut up and tell me that you love me? Wildfire is just like, you just left me to burn, did you? Like
well,
um Shy is just like talking about an individual that isn't usually shy, but when they're around that one person that makes them feel different, they become more of who they are, I guess. And the whole concept of that, even the music video, is her, and she has an embodiment of her shyness. And I don't know if you saw the video, but she interacts with this embodiment of her shyness to break out of her shell and become more open to hang out with me as the other person.
just so you know, the one of the silly questions I had was, who is Karate Cactus's nemesis?
Ooh, I don't think they have a nemesis yet, but they should.
I was wondering about Judo Juniper.
Judo Juniper. That could be one. That definitely could be one.
And how?
Someone else mentioned jujitsu bonsai. Like
Oh, oh, that's good. Jiu-Jitsu Bonzo sounds kind of scary.
yeah.
And what sort of training regimen would Karate Cactus need to do to prepare for Judo Juniper?
And it would definitely a long soul searching journey, walking into the canyon and finding like his own oasis and building his own little like his own little hut in there to train and to meditate, and sparring with other cacti and having like the spindles in his arms. That's definitely how he would do it, and he would overcome that, and then he would be able to take down jujitsu bonsai.
That's it. That's it. He could probably, after that, he could probably take on Jiu-Jitsu Bonsai and Judo Juniper at the same time.
Definitely.
And if you need a sparring partner, I'm here for you. And I want to help you train and just really admire what you're doing and how hard you're working. So
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
keep going in. And if you ever need an old English folk singer on a track, if you ever run out of amazingly talented, gorgeous young women to sing on your tracks, I'm here for you.
Oh, no, definitely. I like the sound of that.
Bless, man.
Bless you. Thank you
Bless.
so much.
Bye, brother.